Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have some road course action to finish off the first round of 16 here in the playoffs. It's an exciting one. I love some Watkins Glen, one of my favorite road courses on earth, to be quite simple. And myself and Chase Elliott were locked in with one win apiece coming into this race. As the points, of course, look very dank. All of a sudden it says Bell is 0 points above the cut line. That's inaccurate. He is 21 points above Hocevar, 29 points back for Alex Bowman, 30 back for Keselowski, and Shane Van Gisbergen enters at the bottom of the grid, 31 points below the cut line. However, he's coming to a road course, and I'm not writing him off. Keselowski, you see him there in the Miller Lite machine, 30 points deficit. I don't see him advancing into the round of 12 in what's been a poor first two races of the playoffs and what's been a stellar season for the number 6. Chase Briscoe has really turned things up. He is at a solid first round. He just needs to survive today. Christopher Bell, a solid season, 2 wins on the season, but he comes in the first driver above the cut line, so he is going to be stressing as this race goes on. Some international names in the field, 2311 and Kamui Kobayashi as well. Kimi Räikkönen, Project 91, he is back on the grid this weekend, as well as for Rick Ware Racing, we got Chaz Mostert for that number 51 car out of the V8 Supercars. And some big news when we talk about 2311 Racing. We just mentioned Kamui Kobayashi in the car. Well, guess what? They have bought out JTG for next season. JTG will no longer exist. The one-car team is gone, but Corey Heim will be now remaining in that same kind of car. So they are buying the team out. Obviously, that means that 2311 is now going to get their charter. 2311 will be a 3 full-car team going into next season. It was announced this weekend, and Corey Heim will be going over to 2311 and driving the number 11, as Denny Hamlin is lending his iconic number to Corey Heim going into next season. Joe Gibbs Racing has given up that number, as we know. Of course, Chandler Smith, he will be getting the number 18 at Joe Gibbs Racing as they bring back that number, and they decided to allow Hamlin to take 11 to 2311 Racing, and now it will be given to Corey Heim. So the number 11 will remain on the grid, which I think is awesome to see. But now focusing in off of that news, we still have a bit more silly season news to come. A few maybe surprises. One surprise I think you guys are really going to be impressed by, and I'm not going to spoil it, but we come to the line with a 108.644 here in qualifying, and that is going to put us P8, row number 4 on the grid. Pretty happy with that overall, as we'll take a look at the rest of the qualifying effort. Look at this, we got Larson on pole. How about Chaz Mostert, P2, SVG, bottom of the grid, 3rd, Elliott. Kamui Kobayashi as well, a great qualifying effort from him. AJ Allmendinger there in P15. As you see the rest of the qualifying order, we have a few playoff drivers, Logano and Haley, they're 28th or worse. Ty Gibbs in 35th as well. So of course a lot of work to do for them going into this race now to make sure they are safe. Lane Riggs ended up winning the Truck Series race here this weekend over Matt Mills. You see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Marco Andretti ends up P16, and all the way towards the bottom of the grid was Grant Enfinger. And Xfinity Series action this weekend, William Sawalich wins the first race of the playoffs here in the Xfinity Series, his 8th win, as I'm sure it's just a matter of time until it gets announced where he's going in the Cup Series. You have to wonder where he is going, though, because some seats are certainly starting to run out. And at the bottom of the grid was Anthony Alfredo in P36. We'll have an updated playoff grid in the next episode for Xfinity. Now, let's get ready to go racing in Watkins Glen.
The final race of the round of 16 is here from Watkins Glen, as 4 drivers are set to be eliminated following today's race. What driver of the bottom 4 has the best chance to advance today?
The oblivious answer is Shane Van Gisbergen, a great starting spot and a great track record at these road courses. Realistically, he's in a must-win situation, but it's still possible to advance if something goes wrong for a guy like Bell or Haley.
All right, mate, no concerns today, obviously. Just have fun and we'll try to win the race.
Yeah, 10-4, James. Thanks, team, for the hard work there last week and putting us in position to have fun today. Let's go have fun. So we're ready to go racing here from the Go Bowling at the Glen off of our fourth win of the season in Talladega. We have been lighting things up lately, turning into maybe a championship favorite coming into the playoffs now, as Chaz Mostard's been dominant all weekend. Allmendinger to the back with an engine change, and Kyle Larson, well, he will start from pole position. However, he'll be on the outside into turn one, so that might be an opportunity for the Supercars driver of Chaz Mostard to get the lead out of turn number one. The green flag is out and we're racing. It's the final race of the round of 16. We don't really have a close situation in the grid for points. It's going to take something drastic, like one of the drivers just above the cut line is going to have a really bad finish, and someone below the cut line is going to have a heck of a day. And I think Shane Van Gisbergen realistically is the only one capable of doing that. So that's kind of who our eyes are on today, Shane Van Gisbergen, as we immediately are up the inside of Kamui Kobayashi into P6. A little bit of contact there as we get separated now, but into that sixth position just behind Chris Buescher of this sixth lap first stage. Of course, that means we are not going to have to pit for any situation here. No green flag pit stops necessary. We got enough fuel, 11 laps of fuel actually in the car, and right off the bat I am noticing that 17 car is lacking some pace. We'll move over to the left side of the track, and we are easily going to be able to make this overtake on the 17 car into that left-hander in the penultimate corner, and Kamui Kobayashi is going to follow through, and Shane Van Gisbergen there just up in P4 behind Chase Elliott. Chaz Mostard did get the lead on the start, so Larson drops into second place. Mostard may be considered a bit of an underdog of the drivers that have come over here to the NASCAR scene now, but he is certainly showing up here today now, leading in these opening moments. Of course, we got a lot of racing to go, so a lot can change. He might not even have the pace long term, but we'll certainly give it some times and let this race materialize before we see what Mostard is going to be capable of at this point now. But things are looking good early on. I'm under pressure right now from Kobayashi in that 2311 number 67. He is only 0.3 of a second back, and I was struggling to reel in Shane Van Gisbergen and everybody else now, so we're just kind of settled in into P5 as we already approached the halfway point of this first and opening stage, and I just didn't really have a whole lot at this point now. You can see maybe visually we are gaining a little bit on SVG, but certainly not what I expected. We won this race last season actually with Colleague Racing, if you guys remember. Before, it was a playoff race, but it was a fuel mileage situation. But I feel like we actually had more pace in the Colleague car than we do currently in this number 19 Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we just maintained P5 and we come to 2 laps to go, and you can see we have reeled in SVG a little bit, and Kamui Kobayashi is coming with me as well in that number 67. Christopher Bell is also joining the party here behind us, so he is doing what he needs to do. He's the last driver in on points right now. He just needs to have a solid day. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. He just needs to make sure he scores the points that he needs to score, and he will be just fine now as we approach the final lap of stage 1, rolling through the bus stop, just bringing it home at this point as we do reel in SVG within a few car lengths. He is dropping off the front 3 cars, but it's all Chaz Mostard with a very comfortable gap on Kyle Larson, setting himself up well for stage 2 as we head down towards this penultimate corner. I'm going to have absolutely nothing for this 97, but a really good start to the race for SVG. He enters 31 points below the cut line. Well, he just picked up 7 with 4th place. Mostard wins stage 1. Kyle Larson P2, Chase Elliott P3. This is looking like the early stages of a NASCAR road race where it's very calm and the storm just continues to brew as time goes on, and I think that's exactly what we're having here in Watkins Glen. Nonetheless, P5 for us, good stuff. Obviously, this race doesn't matter outside of trying to get playoff points. Now, Kobayashi, Bell, Buescher, Cindric, Sammy Smith in the top 10. Buescher, actually, I'm impressed he managed to be in the top 10 because he has no pace today. Looking at the playoff names that are struggling, Logano has done a solid job moving forward, and Ty Gibbs has moved forward as well. Justin Haley, however, he's gone nowhere. P31, so that might be the driver we need to pay attention to. This is the playoff grid coming into today. Bell just picked up 4 points, but Haley, no points there, but he is the next driver ahead of Christopher Bell, so We'll kind of wait and see what things look like at the end of stage 2, but nonetheless we gain 1 position there up to P4, row 2 in the preferred lane. Now Chaz Mustard now in the lane you don't want to be in. As a green flag is out, this should be the opportunity for Kyle Larson to get to the front position now. 6 laps of stage, racing again into turn number 1, side by side with Chase Elliott. He's going to clear me, and Mustard's going to get the run. Chaz Mustard clear, and that shows you how good he is here today in Watkins Glen to do it around the outside. Very difficult for the AI to do. So Chaz Mustard, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, now myself, as we get past Shane Van Gisbergen, Kamui Kobayashi there just behind us, Dennis Bell and Chris Busher, as we get right to the back of this 9 into this bus stop chicane now, when we let things roll there. As you can see, we're tucked right up on the back of this 9. In the background, side by side action. There's Daniel Suarez going at it with the 45 of Reddick. Gibbs side by side with Hocevar as well. Clarkson, Hocevar, looking like, unless some kind of miracle and he finds a way to win this race, he'll be out in the first round of the playoffs. Same for Kislowski, having a very, very midday. The only driver that comes in this race below the cut line and is actually having a good race is the number 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen. Alex Bowman, the other driver below the cut line by 29 points, just not having the day he needs as well. So nonetheless, I mean, we lead this kind of little group of cars behind us of SVG as well as Kobayashi and Bell, but we're looking to put the pounce on Elliott, but that's not going to happen because we have a bit of a moment there on lap 2 of the stage out of the bus stop, and that opens the door for SVG to go up the inside through the carousel. He passes us, but now hold on, it's not over because we have a run back on the exit, and we're immediately going to go and try to retake this position and get back into P4 and try to run down Elliott in front of us. And here comes Kobayashi trying to follow as well. What a run here from the Japanese driver as we go down into this final turn. So we return to P4 as VG actually keeps Kobayashi at bay, so he maintains in that 5th position now as we continue on lap 3 of 6 of the stage. Now actually overshooting the bus stop, having a few problems, a couple of back-to-back laps through there. We save it a little bit better and we get it corrected quickly there, so it's not too much of an issue behind. Logano, playoff driver, head on into the barrier. He enters this race 36 points above the cut line, and big damage to the number 22 Penske driver, and he would pit. And at the end of the lap, Noah Gregson as well with a tire failure coming in, both drivers in, but Logano is not going to be out of the race. Gregson's done for the day, who didn't hit anything. And Joey Logano, who blew a tire, plowed head on into the wall, is actually not going to be out. He is going to return to the racing action, but the problem is he's going to be 1 lap down. The fortunate side, he will get the free pass because nobody else is a lap down, so I think he's going to be okay in terms of the playoff situation. We round this final turn and we come to 2 laps to go in stage 2, and it's starting to feel like a little bit of chaos could be brewing here now as we are reeling in this number 9 of Chase Elliott coming to the final lap. We have driven away from SVG and everybody else now as they are just a little bit over a second behind, but Chase Elliott is starting to fade as the run goes along, and 1 lap to go in stage number 2, and once again a round of applause for Chaz Mostert. What a drive in that number 51. He won stage 1. Rick Ware Racing in that 51 car won stage 1 last episode in Talladega as well, with Brett Moffitt behind the wheel, and now it's Mostert stepping up to the plate here as we're right to the back of the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet, nearly into the back of that blue bumper there, that rear bumper now as we exit the carousel. A few car lengths now between myself and Chase Elliott. Not going to force the issue too much. Both of us have wins this round. He stole our win in Atlanta. We could have won the first 2 races of this round, which would have been one heck of a statement, but it wasn't quite meant to be. But Chaz Mostert comes through to sweep the first 2 stages. Kyle Larson will come through to be P2 in stage 1 and 2. He has done enough. He's going to be able to easily advance into the next round of the playoffs. P4 there in stage 2. Very happy overall with that result, but I just don't have the pace for Kyle Larson, Chaz Mostert. I think we are a 4th to 5th place car in the short run, and we're a 3rd place car in the long run, but nobody here has anything for the number 5 or that number 51. Chaz Mostert, the clear favorite to win this race today. Now we will pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and make actually a slight wedge adjustment, a rarity at a road course. I don't really adjust the car very much because it's usually good enough, but clearly we're lacking something. Justin Haley continues to struggle a little bit here, down to 35th place, while SVG picked up 6 more points. His total tally is 13 points. Christopher Bell has enough points. He's passed Haley now, so Haley enters the final stage. Compared to SVG's 13 points he has gained, only 18 points above the cut line coming into this final stage. So if Shane Van Gisbergen can beat Justin Haley by 19 positions, he will get in on 1 point. If Haley continues to struggle as it stands right now, Shane Van Gisbergen is going to do it. No one else will. Hocevar will not. Bowman will not. Kozlowski won't. But Shane Van Gisbergen is running so much better than Justin Haley, who has got a 2-win season under his belt. Most recent win coming at my home track there in Canada. And what a season it's been. He's been really hot lately, but he's having a really bad day. So it's very possible that Justin Haley could be eliminated to the 97 of SVG. Now, as we roll through this bus stop chicane, we got the P3 passing Chase Elliott on this opening lap of stage number 3. And now we can settle in. What can we do with Larson as well as Chaz Mustard? Well, they absolutely dominate me on the exit of the carousel, and that kind of set the realism in very quick. I don't got nothing for these guys. We round the final turn and on this opening lap of the stage, and they just continue to drive away. I don't know what it is, but that 5 in the 51, they just, with 15 laps to go in this race, have something that the rest of the field does not. They are on a whole different level today, and this happens sometimes. I mean, the teams get it right, and usually it's just one car, but 2 cars have got it right here today. But the 51's gotten it right a little bit more than the number 5 of Larson. Right now, we're at least sticking with Larson, kind of keeping him honest a little bit here. Green flag pit stops that will be necessary in this final stage, or pit stops under yellow pit stops of some sort will be happening here. But you can see as these laps are going on, I'm just dropping time. Mustard's nearly 3 seconds ahead already, and Larson's just over 1 second ahead on me. No one has anything for the 51 car, but we would maintain the gap throughout lap 21 to that number 5 of Kyle Larson. Keep it right around a 1 second margin, just under actually. But we're actually completely driving away now from Chase Elliott, who appears to have completely lost his short run pace that we saw in stage number 2. So will they maybe have a little bit more pace on that longer run than compared to stage 2, because we ran him down right at the end of that stage. But we're sticking with Kyle Larson. We're doing a good job here, but that was really all I could do, is stick with him. I wasn't reeling him in. I wasn't putting pressure on him. Chaz Mustard's just off in his own island at this point now, unless something goes crazy wrong, or a weirdly timed caution or something. Chaz Mustard's clearly going to win this race in Watkins Glen. But as you can see, starting lap 23, just over 10 laps ago, Larson now starting to pull that gap back out. I wasn't running bad laps. I wasn't making a whole lot of mistakes. I just honestly didn't have the pace, so we just kind of settled into P3, and I accept the fact that I'm probably going to be 3rd today at this point now, unless something maybe goes wrong for any of the 2 drivers in front of us, or of course an awkward time caution. Right now would be an awkward time. The caution is on the racetrack, and Chaz Mustard is going to be in a interesting position, and it's for that. A blown engine is going to bring out the caution from Riley Herbst, and immediately you see some drivers electing to not pit. This could change in the next 10 seconds. We are going to pit for simply 4 tires and fill it up on field. The tire wear is high here in Watkins Glen, and look at this. 4 drivers stay out, including Justin Haley, who's looking for a desperate move to try and keep Shane Van Gisbergen from eliminating him. We're racing with 8 to go, and now we're alongside Chaz Mustard. We said we needed an awkward caution to put us in position. We don't have the fastest car, but now we might have the track position on the exit of turn 1. Wheel to wheel with Mustard now, as we're going to lunge into the Cessna section and try to clear him. We slide through. We take the position. 5th place, right behind Corey Heim, soon to be 2311 driver in that number 11 Toyota Camry next season. Well, nonetheless, we go alongside him. We need to put as many cars as we can between myself and Mustard quickly, because we know he's going to be quicker than us and running us down. A bit of contact there. The 47 and myself kind of collide. He saves it. No harm done there, but that's actually opening the door for not Mustard. Shane Van Gisbergen going to go through, and all these cars in front of us, they cannot make it to the end of the race, so I don't really know why they didn't pit. They still got to pit again, but they're looking to do something, you know, off sequence and hope for the best. But we passed the 34. I am taking my time. I realize now we're in front of Mustard. Shane Van Gisbergen is in front of Mustard, so I am just going to let things play out here. Up the inside of Corey LaJoy, sounds like an announcement on the future of that 48 car is coming maybe as soon as next episode, as we clear the 48. 1:48. Only one more car to run down, and as it stands currently, Justin Haley will make it into the next round, but obviously he still has to pit, and he is going to give up track position, and Shane Van Gisbergen's not far behind. Christopher Bell has also gotten past Chaz Mostert. This is perfect now, and here we go to the back of the 60, up the inside of our former teammate, and we clear him down this back stretch, in towards the bus stop chicane, into the lead, and what a story this is turning into now. We haven't had the pace, we still don't have the pace to straight up win this race, but we've got the track position. We pounced on the opportunities presented to us, and suddenly we're in position to win 2 back-to-back seasons in Watkins Glen. Shane Van Gisbergen will get the job done and move himself into the second position on the run towards the penultimate corner. So he goes into P2. What can he do with us now? Haley didn't even put up much of a fight, surprisingly, when he needs to beat him. Mostert back up into P5, actually clipped the barrier on the exit of the final turn. Fortunately, enough of a gap to maintain a comfortable margin there over the 97 with 6 laps to go in this race. What a story here from Watkins Glen, and now you can see Haley, as the laps are going on, continues to tumble down the order. There goes Bell and Mostert as well through moments later, and Kamui Kobayashi. Haley will drop down to P6, but he still, like I said, is going to have to pit. All 4 cars that stayed out, they have to pit again before this race is over. So I just don't understand exactly what he was trying to accomplish there. Of course, us pitting when we did put us in a close situation on fuel, but you know, it's close, but we can still make it. You know, overtime would certainly make things interesting at that point, but we were maintaining the gap to SVG, and I was paying attention to Chaz Mostert, and he was certainly the quickest car on the track. However, he wasn't breezing past Christopher Bell, and he was having trouble getting past our teammate for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I'm pretty confident at this point that that restart is going to, of course, be the difference maker. And 4 coming to 3 laps to go. SVG giving it everything he has, but it's not going to matter because as soon as Haley and them pit, it's going to be game over, and Shane Van Gisbergen is going to find the 18 points he needs to tie the number 60 and the 19 points he needs to beat the number 60. Now 3 laps to go at this point in Watkins Glen, and the gap to SVG is getting larger. He is falling off. Mostert is closing in on me, but he cannot pass Christopher Bell. He is within a few tenths of a second, but he can't pass him. So it's very difficult for him now. The 4 cars that had stayed out have now pitted, including Justin Haley. So Shane Van Gisbergen, as Haley now runs in the mid-30s, Van Gisbergen is in, and Haley is officially out as we approach the final lap in Watkins Glen. And as we approach this final lap, you can see actually some smoke pouring out of somebody up ahead. Not quite sure who that is now, but just at this point hoping please no caution, because I do not want a restart now. And it's Kimi Räikkönen. We'll go around the outside there. Thank you very much. No caution. We stay green. Not the day Räikkönen was looking for, while the other international drivers have excelled. Kobayashi top 5, Mostert top 5, SVG's under pressure from both Bell and Mostert. White flag in the air, and I feel like we have been gifted this race more than Talladega. Of course, Talladega, we put our car up there on merit and just we raced our way to victory. We have been gifted a win today if we hang on this final lap of Watkins Glen. So I honestly feel really bad for Chaz Mostert. I mean, absolutely dominant effort from him, and it just wasn't meant to be because of the 4 cars that stayed out on that last restart. We come through this bus stop chicane, through the carousel for the final time, looking for win number 5 on the season. Like I said earlier, wasn't the craziest road course race we've ever had here in Heat 5, but it was a good one still nonetheless. SVG is going to maintain P2. Haley is going to get himself eliminated from poor running and poor strategy, and SVG will be the last driver to advance into the round of 12 as we round this final turn. And for the 5th time this season, we're going to come through to win in Watkins Glen. Let's go, guys. Awesome stuff. I did not expect that one. I mean, it's a shame for Chaz. He deserved that one. So we take it. Another win. Win 5 on this season. We could have won every race in this round if we had just picked up that Atlanta win and held on. But, you know, the way we lost it in Atlanta, we win it in Watkins Glen. So you see the finishing order as well on your screen. And Justin Haley, he ended up way down the order. Brad Kozlowski, P18, that's not going to be enough. Carson Hocevar didn't do enough either. Same for Alex Bowman. All rough days for those guys when they needed incredible days. Raikkonen, Suarez, and Gregson at the bottom of the grid. But Haley in 33rd, he will get eliminated by 7 points to SVG. So Kyle Larson was the top driver in points without a win, but Haley is out by 7, Kozlowski 28, Hocevar 30, Alex Bowman 33 points. He is eliminated by, I like to say, I think we're actually starting to get pretty good at doing this burnout thing. But nonetheless, what a day here from Watkins Glen, and the next episode will see us headed to Kansas Speedway to kick off the round of 12. Very excited for that one, and we head into that round of the playoffs with an extra 11 playoff points from the 2 wins and a stage win as well in Talladega. I'll see you guys in the round of 12. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.